Hello, I'm Beth Espy. Welcome to the Startline podcast, supported by the Manx Motorcycle Club. This is where I talk to the riders, the mechanics, the team owners, anyone who plays a part in making racing happen. From the preparation and pressure to the people and the passion behind the scenes. Welcome to the Startline podcast. Well, thank you so much for downloading this episode of Startline, which is supported by the Manx Motorcycle Club, the organisers of the Manx Grand Prix. Just also want to say a huge thank you to Gary at Happy Dog Image Solutions, who this week made me a Startline t-shirt, which is very exciting. So thank you very much to him. We are actually going to be heading up to Happy Dog in the next couple of weeks because Gary's got an incredible history when it comes to racing. And of course, he does so much to support so many other riders. So it'd be great to catch up with him. But today on Startline, we're heading into the world of MBR Motorsport and taking a closer look at what really goes on behind the scenes in motorcycle racing, because I'm joined by Mike Bibby and Roger Wibberley, who between them have got years of experience in this sport, both on and off the track. And Mike is the person who supports Roger, among other riders as well, at various events, certainly here on the Isle of Man. So finding out what goes on from a team owner's point of view is really interesting. I should say at this point, unfortunately, Roger had some connection issues. It just was not playing ball at all. So there's probably not as much of Roger as we would like in this. And he does sound a little bit unusual, so just work with that. There's not too much of it, unfortunately, but here are Roger and first Mike.
I'm Mike Bibby from Ulverston in Cumbria, owner of MBR Motorsports, ex-racer. Now I look after other people, including Rodger and Sean Anderson. Looked after a few others at the TT over the years.
Tell me first of all how you two know each other. How did this all come about?
Not sure how it came about. He came to see me as a customer to do a few jobs on his bike, but I knew him previous to that, obviously being around the paddock, when he was riding for York Suzuki. Yeah, we just knew each other, and then he came to us and asked us to do a few jobs.
We'll talk more about that in a moment, but first of all, Mike, I mean, you are an ex-racer as well. When did you first start racing?
Long time ago. 1999 was the year I did the Manx Newcomers. I missed it in 2000 due to an accident at New Brighton, but I came across and helped Dan Stewart when he was a newcomer. 2001 was foot and mouth, and then 2002 I did it again, but I was riding the 250, which had lots of problems, and I was by myself. I didn't have no mechanics. It was just me and the girlfriend at the time, and that was it. No big team of mechanics like they have now. How naive I was when I first did it. I just rocked up. There was just me, my bike, and a van that I had, but we won't go into the van because that's a different story.
Oh, it sounds like we should go into the van.
No, we definitely don't, because it's one of the reasons how I met Gaz, who works for Rodger. I met him when I was a newcomer. He was there with someone else. He was with Pete Turnbull. My van looked like it should have been at Stonehenge, like a new age hippie traveller. And I woke up in the morning and there was two people like, you need to move your van because it's a pile of scrap. And yeah, it was good fun. But I was young and daft and I just wanted to ride at the Isle of Man. So I turned up with my bike. They said, oh, what you got to do about pit stops? And I'll lean it against the wall and fill it up if I have to. But now you look at them and you think how many people are there helping them. And just the organisation now, like, because last year we had Steve Sewell with us as a newcomer, and you just see it completely different from what it was when we did it. You've got Johnny, Milky, Carolyn. There's just a whole heap of experienced people there to show them round. The newcomer weekends, yeah, it's just so good for them.
We should say we're hopefully going to be joined by Roger at some point. He keeps drifting in and out of the conversation. We've decided probably his internet connection not as good as ours here in the Isle of Man and wherever you are, Mike.
We're on the right side of the hill.
So just still thinking about you, Mike, and your upbringing. Was it one surrounded by bikes?
Family-wise, there wasn't a lot of bikes in the family. It wasn't like my dad had a bike or anything like that. I'm not sure where my interest came, but it was something from a young age that, I wanted to go to the Isle of Man. I first went to the TT to watch as a spectator in 88 or 89 it maybe was. There was quite a good history around us with TT people. We had Frank Whiteway, Les Trotter, Mark Flynn, Dan Stewart was actually after me, Nige Barton. The Jacksons aren't that far away, they're only 25 miles away. So there's quite a lot of good TT riders. Mark Flynn, he was sort of like, when I was a newcomer, Mark came across and helped me. So there's a lot of history with the Isle of Man.
What is it like for you, though, having been there yourself? You've raced, you've obviously, sort of pretty much done it the hard way with very little support. At what point did you decide that actually you wanted to give that support to other people?
Not sure, really. Like I say, in 2000, I came across with Dan Stewart. I think previous to that, me and Dan came across to help Mark Flynn after he come back after his accident. But he pulled out because of his injuries were no better. So we'd been coming across, and I think from then, I just spent a lot of time working with Dan, and then other riders. Yeah, it just progressed from there, really.
What would you say is the most unusual thing that people would find out about being a person in your position and supporting riders? What's the most surprising aspect possibly of that?
Oof, can I really say on it, yeah? You're probably more a psychologist to them than anything else. See, we've got Roger and Sean in the garage. We'll have Sean on one side, and that's Sean Anderson. He'll be at one side of the garage, and he'll be going over studying data, all the technical side of that. And on the other side of the garage, you'll have Rodger, and he'll be like spending 3 hours on Uber Eats or looking like what time the takeaway closes on Douglas Prom.
I suppose there is something, isn't there, about managing different personalities and how they both, I guess, approach racing. Because you say, I mean, Sean does take it incredibly seriously. He's obviously had some great success as well, but there's also the frustrations, when things don't quite go to plan. And I think it's fair to say Sean's had his fair share of those moments.
Yeah, this last year was a year to forget, really. The year before, when he did his 130 lap, everything was going well and things like that. And last year, weather, having the accident, things like that. And it was, but when you've been going to the Isle of Man as long as we have, you sort of know there's ups and downs, there's good years, there's bad years. There's no point getting upset and worried that it's raining or something like that. It happens. So you just have to put it to the back of your mind and look forward to the next one.
And of course, Sean put it on the top of the podium. What is that like from your point of view?
Yeah, unbelievable. It's not often it happens, but especially that one he beat John McGuinness on the same bike. It just adds value to it. And any win round the Isle of Man is a big thing, but when you beat someone like John McGuinness on like-for-like machinery, it just adds so much extra to it. Like every win, anyone who's ever won round there, it's just something so special. But that, yeah, it was great.
The lead is down to 1.1 seconds at Cronknamona. McGuinness continues to lead, but it's only by 1.1 seconds. Cronknamona to the grandstand to come. They're both on a 110.5 mile an hour type pace.
Lap records 113.342. They're off that today, so we look our eyes up the road. 1.119, that's all it is between John McGuinness, number one, the two very similarly mounted machines, and Sean Anderson. Can Sean Anderson get a maiden win around the Isle of Man? Can he do it? But John McGuinness will be using all he knows. There goes the checkered flag. John McGuinness across the line, and there he goes. We'll give you the lap time in a moment. John is there. We've got a little bit of time to wait. Mike Brown is at Cronknamona as well. He's 12.9 back off Sean Anderson, but we're keeping a little eye on Adam McLean, and also number two Jamie Cowan is through 23.469. So John McGuinness is in on his completed lap. Well done to John. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that. We're getting that race out of the way. It's been such a long day for those guys. 110.598. But let's get to the grandstand. Let's have a little look then. Who's going to be the winner across the line? It's Sean Anderson. Sean Anderson gets the win. Wow. By 0.0163 of a second. A win for Sean Anderson. He's just celebrated his 40th birthday. His wife is due to give birth any day now, Sarah. Wow. Sean Anderson. Let's get down to the winners' enclosure. And a win for Sean Anderson with Beth.
Sean, can you describe that moment for us?
Speechless, really. I come here since 2010, and we've been very fortunate to stand on the box before in the second place in my newcomers race, and I've been chasing a win ever since, year after year. Sometimes we've been close and sometimes we've been further away, so I really, to have it that close, I had no idea. I knew we were in the hunt. We saw Jamie early on. Mike had just caught Jamie, and then I passed Jamie, and then we were trying to get across the gap to Mike, and I went up the inside into the veranda, and I lifted him a fraction, and I really have to apologise to him for that there, but I knew I just needed to keep on charging, and then I really had no idea. I crossed the line, got down to the turning area, and everybody was cheering, and I was like, well, it must be good, and then somebody would give me like the number one, and I'm just ecstatic.
And the bike presumably ran well?
Yeah, Peter, Barbara, Hanno, like they put an amazing bike under me. They put it under me last year. We fell a wee bit short on fuel and a couple of other small technical issues, but like they come all the way from Switzerland. This is their big main event of the year, I guess, and just to repay them in a tiny fraction for what they've done for me is really like, I still can't thank them enough.
And we know that your wife, Sarah, is at home because baby is expected any day now. Have you had a chance to speak to her yet?
No, I think we're trying to get her on the phone now. I'm hoping the excitement of the race hasn't triggered anything because we're on the boat at 8:30 this evening. So I was really getting panicky this morning when the race was going to go late and we knew we were in the hunt. So it was really, hopefully she's kept the nerves and kept the baby inside just for another 24 hours till I get home.
Well, Sean, we are delighted for you. Congratulations.
Thanks again. Thanks, everybody.
And I suppose it's a recognition, isn't it, of all the hard work that's gone into it, not only obviously from the rider's point of view, because they have to take it around there, but the whole team that puts them there.
Yeah, it is like this year on that same bike, Peter, who owns the pattern, they worked so hard. I was this year at the Classic TT and they didn't get a finish on it, and don't know how many engines they went through, but yeah, you go from one year from winning to the next year that you can't buy a lap sort of thing. It is the ups and downs.
Rodger hopefully is there again. Are you there, Rodger?
Yeah, I think I'm back.
Just tell us, Rodger, I mean, you were sort of talking about sort of growing up and how it was your sort of older brother that kind of got you into it. At what point did you make the decision that you wanted to take racing a little bit more seriously?
My first trip to the Manx Grand Prix in 1989 to watch Dave Montgomery on my brother's bike racing in the junior, and he ended up winning it, and that's where it all started. I wanted to start racing in the Isle of Man.
And how long did it take you to get to that point?
Well, I did 3 years from 1990. I went basically run out of money. And then back in 99, I went over to the TT with my friend, and that's when I could basically afford it. So I decided to start racing again. I kept my license going. And then in 2000, I bought a 2Z250 like Patrick, and I gained my natural license, and then I could do it 2001. Cancelled because of mouth.
That must have been so frustrating. You know, you put so much into it, and then obviously something that's completely beyond your control. So what year was it? Did you come back 2002?
2002. In a way, it did me a big favour because I did another year's worth of learning, but that's when the Mike Bibby Foundation, no one knew about it. There were only certain people that knew about it, so I missed out on that. But I did all my own work watching Tony Pond going around in a car on the video.
So actually, Rodger and Mike, you both raced in 2002. Did you know each other at that point?
No, I didn't.
How weird is that?
Maybe he was in front of me at the chippy queue or somewhere.
You know, when you've wanted to do something, Rodger, for such a long time and so much has gone into it, what is it like when you're sitting on that start line on Glencrutchery Road and you get that tap on the shoulder? Do you remember that first one?
Well, back in the day, when I did it, they didn't have a newcomer's lap, so it was straight out. I remember Matt Parrott having a quick word with me before set off. I remember going down the island on the first lap and thinking, why am I doing this? Because it's so fast, like you've never experienced anything like it. And then I remember getting to Glen Ellen and thinking, oh, this is okay, this.
And who did you have with you? Because we were just talking to Mike, who kind of did it, I don't want to say in a shoestring, but certainly in terms of the support he had with him. There weren't a great many people with him. Who did you have?
Just a couple of minutes, and I had Gavin Bell giving me some advice.
Like you say, Mike, so different now. In terms of sort of where we are of the year, we're speaking coming into the second week of February. I'm curious from a team owner's sort of point of view, how much of your year is spent thinking about the events coming up?
Most of it. You probably get a week. You get a week or so when you come back after the Manx and you saw like, that's it, we've had enough. You take time off, and then straight after that you are pretty much planning and getting stuff ready, because it's not just Rodger's bike. We do bikes for other customers as well. Yeah, I'm sort of panicking now. I've been this week at work thinking I need to get that ready and do this and do that. And, because before we know it, it will be the start of the season again. So pressure starts to build a little bit now.
And we talk so much about how much this sport costs. I mean, it's a huge, huge thing. And from your point of view, is there a lot of worrying about that?
From me, yeah, because for the Classic TT this year, they brought out the new 600 class. So we are looking at building a 600, and you sort of don't realise how much money goes into one. Like the Classic Superbikes are relatively cheap compared to, if you want to go and buy a super stock bike for the TT, you're probably looking at around £50,000, whereas you can build a competitive Classic TT bike for probably like £10,000. So yeah, it's more manageable that way. We couldn't even think about doing the TT now, without some big major sponsors. But yeah, certainly. Well, even the lads running at the Manx now, a good 600 or a next gen 750 for them, they're not cheap things anymore. So yeah, I wouldn't like to be racing now.
No, there's a lot that goes into it. Think about insurance and whatever. And even from the point of view, obviously, you two living in the UK and trying to get over here and it doesn't leave a lot of time or money for anything else.
No, it's one thing that the people that don't race at the Isle of Man don't understand. It's hats off to all the newcomers just for getting over there, just to get on that start line. There's months, there's years of work and planning. You got to get your vehicles, your people, everything over to the island. It's a big task for them.
And Roger, from your point of view, thinking about the finance, what about sponsorship and whatever? How have you found that over the years?
It's sad. Like, basically, I've been self-funded, ever since I've been here. Yeah, I did ride a bike for York with Lucian, helped me out, and various people helped me out over the years. Like Mike now, Gary Cartridge, he helped me big time as well.
And it just means so much, doesn't it? And I think, Mike, from your point of view, knowing that you are helping other people sort of fulfill their dream, yeah, I guess that gives you something back.
It does, yeah. And, you go across and it's a lot of hard work, but because I've been there and done it, you sort of know how much it means to other people, because it is hard for anyone that's racing. It's hard. So if you can just help and give a little bit back, it's just good, isn't it? We noticed it this year, last year with Steve, just to see, I think, was it you that interviewed him when he started crying? It was, after that first lap that the newcomers, because we haven't been involved in newcomers for a long time, and we just saw like everybody came out the scrutiny in bay, and you were there with a microphone, and just the look on the face, that was probably the highlight of the year, really.
Hello, you newcomer. How are you doing?
Hello.
Are you all right?
Yeah, you just caught me as I was about to start crying.
Oh, how was it out there?
Absolutely amazing. Better than I could ever imagined. It was absolutely brilliant.
Do you know, that's the thing, isn't it? You kind of put so much into getting here, and then the reality of going out there and getting those laps in. So how did the machine feel?
Perfect, yeah. A little misfire at bottom end, which we're going to have to sort out, I think. Just coming out the throttle at the Ramsey hairpin there, it was bogging a little bit, but yeah, apart from that, she went well.
And any surprises on the course? Anything you didn't expect?
No, nothing at all. It was just nice, flowing, calm. Yeah, try not to make a mess of things. It was good.
Oh, brilliant to see you so happy. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Beth.
Yeah, it was so emotional, wasn't it? And I think, having probably spoken to Steve before it all happened and talking to him about the build-up, when it's actually, you've been there and done that, and he's got his family there as well, and you just see how much it means to people.
Yeah, it's great. Even with Rodger, like you'd say, Rodger's like old hand at it now, but you still see it in his face when he comes back in after he's done a good lap and things are going well. Just the fun. It's on his face. Same with Sean when he was at the TT, when he did, like the 130 lap. Just to see what it means to him, it's just unreal.
I suppose the question for you, Roger, then is what is it that keeps you coming back?
It's still a buzz. It's still an adrenaline buzz. Like everyone says, every year you still learn something new.
So tell me then about the relationship between you two. How does it work? I mean, are you the sort of person that's giving advice, Mike? Or, does Roger take feedback? I mean, how does that all work?
It's easy to work with Roger. Like Gaz does, when we're in the Isle of Man, Gaz does all the work for Roger, and Roger's got his mates that come over, because I'm normally busy with Sean. But yeah, it is easy. Like working with Roger is easy.
I just say, Roger, whenever I see you around the paddock, you do seem incredibly relaxed. Is that the sort of person you are generally?
Now I'm sort of like old school. I've been doing that long.
So over the years then, Roger, what's been your racing highlight so far, would you say?
Well, I think he said the highlight was when he finished 12th, but he was running as high as 8th and he got done for speeding in the pit lane.
That must be so frustrating. And it's so difficult, isn't it? When you've been going at such speed around the course and then you have to slow right down. I guess you must feel like you're going like a snail through pit lane.
Luckily, I'm that old. They didn't have pit lane speed limits when I was there. So I never got done for speeding. I wouldn't have got done for speeding anyway. I wasn't the fastest.
I suppose same question to you then, Mike. What's been your racing highlight from when you were on the bike?
Don't know. It's that long ago since I raced. I struggle to remember what I did this morning. Never mind what I did all them years ago. It must have been just finishing that first race at the Isle of Man. I think just getting that finisher. I wasn't lucky enough to get a replica because I wasn't fast enough. But like just getting the finisher's medal. It was just unbelievable.
So then from your point of view, with just thinking about sort of pit stops and whatever, that's an incredibly high pressured time for a team. And even, just getting your rider to the right spot and making sure that you fill the tank properly. Have you ever had any little challenges in the pit lane?
Well, one or two of them, yeah. Rear wheel changes, we had a bit of an issue with. We couldn't get the chain back on. That was in one of the pit stops. And Sean was told to attack at the next one, attack the pit box a bit faster, and he did attack it, and it was like a stop rack stop it, and when he landed, the wheel was close to there's like a little step in pit lane, so he was a bit close to that, so he couldn't get the spindle out. But it's horrible, just anything to do with, I get nervous now even when you go to at the start of the race, when you go to fill the fuel up, and it's absolutely horrible being in pit lane. It didn't seem that bad. It may be an age thing, but it's horrible. And certainly when you're sat on pit wall waiting for your rider to come round, it's forever. It might, now it's sort of like 17, 18 minutes. I remember back in the day, you used to set them off and you used to have time to walk to the Aylwoods Centre, have a sandwich, have a crack with everyone. Oh, we better have an amble back up. But now they're so fast. But when you're sat in pit lane, it's a long time.
And how aware are you of where your rider is?
It's better now. Now they've got rid of the old scoreboards. I'd be hated for saying that, won't I? But when they've got the big screens there, you can actually see. Hopefully, you get a glimpse of them on TV, and it is a little bit more reliable with the little sector times and things come up. Because obviously in pit lane, you're not allowed mobile phones, so you can't see where they are or track them on live tracking. But hopefully with the TV, you can see them a little bit. Because it's like back in the old days when you had the radio at the three places, if your rider was in the right position, he would get mentioned before they go to the next commentary point, which was always right, he's there. And yeah, nerve-wracking.
I can imagine it is, because you're responsible for someone else. It's all very well when you're the rider, I guess, and you feel like you're responsible for yourself, but there's just so much on getting that right and making sure that everything goes to plan. And I guess even recognizing them coming in and giving them that wave and getting them to stop. Yeah, it's a fantastic thing to watch when you're not directly involved.
Oh, it's horrible. Like you say, spotting, you have to sort of like recognize the helmet and is it them? Especially on it when it's a lap that are they coming in? They're meant to come in, or if you say it's a flying lap, you've got to stand there and watch to see if your rider's coming in, and now you've got to have your balaclavas and everything ready. So if they do come in, you've got to be ready for them. There's a lot to it in pit lane.
And, just even thinking about the equipment that you need, you mentioned balaclavas there, and this is, the progression of regulations, and a lot of it is done for great reasons and that safety side of things. But I guess having to keep on top of that, because there will be changes every year, I guess.
Yeah, again, it's another expense is, getting the fireproof overalls. You've got your gloves, your balaclava. If it's a TT, you've got a wheel change to do. You've got to have the correct safety for the battery gun. There's all sorts in there, and yeah. I wouldn't want to do a visor change.
No, we've heard from other riders that can go wrong sometimes, can't it?
It can go very wrong. So yeah, everyone thinks that I'd rather change the wheel than change a visor.
And I guess from a point of view of like how things change around the course, if there's been road works, we obviously see a lot of work going on the mountain during the winter months. How much does that affect your riding when you're out there?
When they happen, some of those works, like in the briefings as well, they always tell us where there has been any alterations.
And Mike, do you still try and get an odd lap in?
Over the years with the classic super bikes and the classic bikes, you get plenty of laps in. I probably know more about the island and how to get to places, picking up riders with broken down bikes. Yeah, the TT would tend not to, if we've got to venture out, you don't want to go anywhere near the mountain cars. The Manx is a lot better, we do get a lap in. You're probably like you, because you live there, you drive around it so often, it doesn't mean anything, does it? It's just a road when you're not racing.
So, Mike, in terms of the next few weeks and months for you, how does it look? What sort of things are you going to be doing?
Getting Rodger's, I won't say scrap, but I'll say his bikes. I'll be nice to him today, because we've got his 600, like he said there, the engine that he bought for it when we were over, because he blew it up at the Manx. The engine he bought when he was over there was pretty much scrap when we took that apart. So we've got his bit of work to do on the 600. His 750's pretty much ready to go. My 750 is a little bit of work to do, because hopefully that'll be out at the pre-TT as well. Waiting to hear off Sean what his plans are and everything. So for me, it'll be sort of like getting the start of the season ready, because Roger and Sean will have to do some races for the signatures. And then, it's just look forward to pre-TT.
Is the Isle of Man your holiday of the year then? Do you get to do anything else?
Yeah, coming to the Isle of Man is the only holidays that we do get. I might get a weekend or a few days away over the northeast coast at the end of the year, but as for jetting off anywhere, the Isle of Man's the place.
And in terms then of sort of getting together with the likes of Roger and Sean, do you spend much time before the season starts, or is it sort of all sort of done remotely now?
No, I spend a lot of time with Roger. Probably won't see Sean until we get to a racetrack. Last year we normally do the first race meeting at Croft, but that's not on this year. So I normally don't see Sean from when we leave the Isle of Man until we get to the first race. So this year it might be a case that we won't see Sean until we actually get to the TT. Just the distance that we live apart, and Sean's always busy. He don't like taking any days off because of his work. He keeps all his days for his racing. Because Roger's a customer and he comes up with his bikes, we see a lot of Roger.
And Roger, was something else that we talk to most riders about is social media and having that social media presence. I think it's fair to say your sense of humour probably shines through on your social media too, but how do you find that side of things?
I've just got all up on Facebook.
You can tell he's not very tech savvy because he keeps sounding like Dalek.
But again, from your point of view, is it important to have that social media presence?
From a business point of view, it is. Away from the racing, from a business point of view, if you do like a lot of Facebook posts and things like that, you get a lot more business off it. But it's finding time to do it. I know a friend of mine, he had a big motorbike dealership, and I remember him years ago employing somebody just to do the Facebook. I'm like, what are you paying someone to sit on Facebook for? But yeah, it's massive, isn't it, now? And I've worked with a young kid who was at motocross, and he was leading the British Championship. And when we approach people for sponsorship, the first thing they ask is, how many followers do you have on social media? It's just massive, but it's finding time to do it, especially when you're old like me and Roger.
Yeah, it's another full-time job almost, isn't it? As we're talking the first newcomers weekend for those taking on the mountain course for the first time, the MGP is approaching. What would be the best piece of advice you think you'd be able to give somebody who's setting out for the first time?
Preparation, isn't it? That's the main thing. Don't worry about your lap times or anything. Just do lap after lap after lap, and you've just got to be a sponge and listen to what everybody tells you. And like I said, don't worry about lap times. Just make sure you're out there. You're better off to have a bike that's got finished than having a super quick thing that's got to break down every session and miss laps. And use your time, especially if you've got bad weather through practice week. It's important that you make the most of that session. If you've got a good dry session, make sure you get as many laps in as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even really touched on the weather. It can be unpredictable. Obviously, MGP wise was great last year, but then, I really felt for for the classic guys when they couldn't get their last race in. And that must just be beyond frustrating when you think about time, money that's gone into it, and then something completely out of your control just means the race doesn't even go ahead.
The riders get upset, but us mechanics say it's a good holiday till you get the bikes out. On a serious note though, when you do have a bad practice week, weather-wise, it just makes it so hard on the mechanics and everybody working. It's you think it'd be easy, but yeah, it's hard work, is bad weather. We don't want any of that.
Well, we have everything crossed for 2026. Mike, if people want to sort of keep up to date with you and your work and whatever, where can they find you on social media?
It's just on MBR Motorsports page on Facebook, and I think TikTok's the same name. I think we've got Instagram, but never done any of that for a long time. You know, we need sunglasses and hair gel for that carry on.
Well, I'll put those links on the Facebook page. Honestly, brilliant to talk to both of you. I think we heard some of what you said, Roger, and we're really looking forward to seeing you back here on the Isle of Man this year. So thank you so much. Will you be over for pre-TT?
Yeah, be pre-TT. Most definitely be at the TT, Southern 100, and yeah, Manx Grand Prix and Classic TT.
Mike, Roger, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Beth. See you later.
Mike Bibby and Roger Wibberley, I did say he sounded a little bit strange, didn't he? It was so unfortunate, but I will catch up with Roger when he's over here on the Isle of Man, hopefully. I'll put the links to their social media on the podcast page as usual, so please do give them a follow. And once again, we wish them all the very best for the 2026 season. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Startline podcast, which is brought to you by the Manx Motorcycle Club, the organisers of the Manx Grand Prix. Do check out the riders on social media. Your support means so much to them. And if you'd like to get in touch with me and be a part of the podcast in the future, it's Beth at startline.im.